All right, troops, welcome to the Action Leap. My name is Owen. So you may have noticed that there's been a bit of a delay on this one. We were supposed to do a stream a few weeks ago, but unfortunately COVID finally reached my household, and me and my brother were down for the count for about 2.5 weeks, and it was pretty horrendous. So stay safe out there, everyone. It's still a thing and not make-believe, as some may tell you. But anyway, so tonight we're going to be talking about Safe from 2012, starring Jason Statham, and I believe this is our first ever stream featuring Jason Statham. I don't think we've ever done a Statham movie before, but we'll do more in the future, obviously. So anyway, I will bring in the squad. So first up is Stephen.
Hey, Owen. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thank you. And J-Man. How are you? Who I gave COVID to. So, your mic is off, Jay.
There you go. I don't like having it on while the thing's going, just in case.
In case something happens, yeah.
Well, it's also true that J-Man is a huge silent movie fan, and I'm not even joking. So yeah. I'm sure there's going to be one stream at least where he does everything silent with title cards.
That's what we should do next week then for Silent Night. So Adam's here on his first stream. Hey, Adam, good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Glad you're better. Yes, me too. It's his first stream. Alrighty, so we're going to be talking about Safe, which I think is maybe Statham's best movie, or certainly way up there. I watched it again last night. I hadn't seen it for a couple of years, and some people have said, do you understand everything that's going on? And I was like, yeah. I mean, it does get a bit convoluted, which we'll get to a little later, but generally, it's quite straightforward. You got the Russians and Chinese trying to use this little girl, Mai, who's got this number memorized so they can go into a safe. My thing is, though, why do the Chinese guys need her to get into the safe if it's their safe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? So did I miss something there? Was that explained, or I don't know?
The movie does try to be very clever.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much. Yeah.
I think it goes a little bit far, like especially close to the end when it's like when you start to unravel everything, and it's like, wait a second, why does the mayor of New York need to hire 2 trained killers to help clean up New York? Like, is it really that bad? And wait a minute, is there enough terrorist organizations in New York that these guys who sent the killers would need to funnel the funds out? Like, first time I saw it, I'm like, okay, I get this, but I don't get this. And the second time, I actually, because I knew we were doing the stream, I don't want to say I didn't do this the first time, but I really tried to pay attention, and I actually rewound parts to understand the explanation sometimes, because I was like, wait a minute, who's your, and then the safe, and what's in this safe, and oh, look, there's Chris Sarandon. So,
yeah, that's me. He's like, oh, there's Chris Sarandon.
I watched this for the first time whenever you said, like a few days before we were supposed to do the stream. And then unfortunately, every movie that I've seen after I turned 40, any movie that I saw before I turned 40, I've memorized everything, even if I only saw it once. Every movie I've seen after 40, I immediately forget a day after I watch it.
Unfortunately, yes, that happens.
So I don't even know what this is anymore. This isn't Jason Voorhees, right? It's Jason Statham.
Jason Statham, yeah.
No, but I think when I was watching it, the Chinese had their safe, they had their combination. They didn't want anyone to get a hold of it, so they knew that she could commit it to memory, and no one else had any physical number written down because nobody could memorize it. So they didn't want to have a piece of paper or on a computer. They didn't want to have it in anywhere that someone could hack. They gave it to the girl to memorize. And the whole point was that if the Russians got it, they wouldn't need to make the deal for the money, right? They wouldn't need to make the deal because they'd have the money and I can't remember the thing, whatever the hell it was.
The disc and
the MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin. They'd have the MacGuffin and the money. So I think that's why she was made to memorize it. It's like, we've got her and we can protect her very easily, whereas someone could hack it. If it was on a computer, someone could hack it. If, we gave a piece of paper to somebody, they could maybe try to get it that way. I guess the guy could have kept it in his pocket and it would have been the same thing. But I think that's where, and then what was the other thing you said, Steve, with the terror or the bad guys, the criminals?
So what happened is that the explanation for Jason Statham's character to be in there in first time, because him and the lover slash assistant of Chris Sarandon, the mayor, he was the killer, right? So it was two killers, Jason Staham and the other dude, who I thought looked like Wesley from Angel for some reason. Anyhow, he was the other guy, and they were brought in, right, to clean up New York. But in exchange, Chris Sarandon's character allowed these people who sent Statham and the other dude in to help clean up. He looked the other way while they went in and drained the bank accounts of terrorist organizations. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so it's one of those, it's the RoboCop 2 formula, or it's the RoboCop 2 deal with the kid, where the kid says, look, we're just going to sell the drugs. You're going to let us pass, but we're going to make it cheap so the crime rate will go down. It's almost like the cops can't really do it because there's so much red tape and all this stuff. I'll get these bad guys to come in, do whatever they can't want, and then they'll still be criminals, and I'll allow them to do their stuff, but they'll have a monopoly on it, and it'll ultimately make like the city will be safer in the big picture.
Right. Well, it was all for political intent anyway, right? Like he did it in order to
he'll look good. He's like, I cleaned up the streets, and I can.
That specific explanation went too far. I would have preferred if it was a bit simpler and just said, hey, we're going to actually run our own crime stuff here, and he's going to look the other way, as opposed to going into the terrorist thing. Because now I'm like, well, now I'm sitting here saying, is there a bunch of terrorist organizations in New York, and how did these guys get the assets for them? Like it like I always say this in my day job, and I'm going to say it in movies too. Don't give me too much information. I will hang you with it. And how many times have the three of us sat around shooting the shit about a movie, and we're like, if you had kept it simple, I wouldn't have then had this problem. But now, because you want to give me this overcomplicated explanation, I'm now sitting here like, no, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Just keep it simple, stupid. That's the best formula.
It's so true. Yeah. I got to say, I thought Catherine Chan was great as May. Because children are normally annoying and awful in movies. That's normally the way of things. But she was actually very sympathetic, and you just found her very appealing. And the fact that they hid the death of her mother from her and everything, and she had to pretend she didn't know and all that stuff, I thought that was really good. Performances were great, but the thing which really stands out about the movie for me and why I love it so much is the action. Now, yes, it is a little sort of quick, but it works really well because there's an energy to it, and I find it like really, really exciting and a nice surge of adrenaline, which sometimes you don't really get when you watch movies. And you're like, oh, that's quite cool, or whatever. But I think Mark Mothersbaugh's score really helped as well. That was really cool. But my favorite scene is whenever Luke, Jason Statham's character, goes into the Russian bar. And it's like, I never know what to say in these situations. And they're like, these moments. And they're like, what moments? It's like, before I kill someone, and stabs the guy with the fork. And then he leaps over and like smashes down on the table and just like fucks everybody up in the bar. I'm like, yes. It's just so awesome. And it's just, that's when Statham is at his best. It's just whenever he's just beating the shit out of guys. I just love watching that. I love the restaurant scene as well, whenever he uses the guy to break his fall when he jumps out the window.
Yeah, it's good.
But there's like one-liners and stuff in it as well. It's like, you got some balls there, Lucas. Yeah, it's amazing I can still walk. He's like a classic action hero in it,
One of my favorite scenes is when he gets robbed by the bum on the street. Because if you think about it, this has been just a series of terrible things that has happened to this guy. It starts out, he's a killer. Okay, he's going to go into New York. Well, he's the only honest cop in New York, apparently. And then he's kicked off the force. Then what could happen? Well, he ends up going into cage fighting in order to support his family. And he accidentally, he punches a guy and causes the Russian mob to lose money. And the guy ends up in a coma. Okay, that's pretty bad. Yeah, and then the Russian mafia is going to come to his house and murder his wife, who has his child, right? Like she's pregnant with his child, and then say, we'll kill anyone who talks to you or is friendly with you or anything. Well, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Then he becomes a homeless man. Well, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Then he gives some poor guy his shoes because the guy can't walk. His feet are all like
gross.
Yeah, gangrene and that. Oh yeah, and someone's going to cut that guy's throat in the middle of the night and steal his shoes. Well, that's pretty bad. Yeah, then you know what happens? He gets robbed by some bum on the street. Like when he's just in that little, corner store and he's just buying whatever and it's $4. It's an insignificant amount. And he realizes he doesn't have his wallet. You can just see like
breaking point.
Breaking point, like where he's laughing, where he's like, this is
hysterical.
It's like this is cartoonish now.
Right.
Like how much bad luck can one person have? And I love that scene because it's so honest. It's like like you can't even get mad anymore. You're just laughing at this point because it's so stupid.
We've all been there at some point as well. Whenever you're having like a really bad day or just a bad time or whatever, and then you just start laughing because you're like, "Oh, fuck this."
This is like can't get any worse. There's a lot.
What are you going to say, Jay?
I thought Owen was paused for a second. Oh, no, I was going to say there's a lot of parallels to like Japanese stuff. So the killing anyone you meet, that's from Lone Wolf and Cub. There's a lot of Lone Wolf and Cub in this movie. He was an executioner for the Shogun. He gets framed. Jason Statham gets he's a cop, but then he's a guy who's part of the system gets screwed, right? That kind of a thing. The wife gets killed. That happens in Lone Wolf. He's got a kid. He finds the girl. So it's like there's a lot of that, but also the idea of like that fate brings the story together. Like Jason Statham is not he's not a proactive character in this. He's just there, and then it just happens that he sees the girl, he sees there's something wrong, and then she saves him because he was going to commit suicide. And that's that idea that this happens in like Yojimbo, where he's just walking and he just throws a stick and it's like, oh, I guess I'm going this way. It's like that kind of a. And then they took a lot of that and then they mixed it with your Russian mafia, like action stuff. So it's like his character is almost like a wandering samurai, like a Ronin who's been plucked and then put into this Russian like gangster movie now. And he's like, okay, well now I'm here. What am I going to do? I don't know how intentional or if this was all subconscious by the filmmakers, because they did have a Chinese element, which is not Japanese, but still it had some sort of Asian flavor to it. So I don't know if that was just accidental and they kind of came up with this. Was.
Like most filmmakers are influenced by Asian cinema. These, particularly Kurosawa, everyone refers to Kurosawa. Right. Everyone these days.
So I liked it. It kind of felt like those two worlds coming together, which is kind of cool. The girl is cool. Obviously, she's fun. I thought I didn't read too much into the story. I didn't even notice that was a problem. Like when you guys were saying, oh, why were these criminals here? Like I didn't even think of that as a problem because I was just looking at it as like, this is the world that this guy is in. And we're just following what he does. And we know his motives are true because the girl is good. So it's almost like I'm just following him. I gave this an 8 out of 10 on my space system. I gave the storyline a 1.5, which is above average because of that. I guess you could minus a point of half a point for kind of the little problems that you and Steve like.
We're just nitpicking.
But even with that, I still, because I literally thought, I thought safe. Oh, he's gonna, he's keeping the girl safe. But actually, it's safe keeping the girl safe, but also the safe in the movie. Yeah. And I thought, oh, that is really
and she
neat.
Saves him as well.
And so it's like safe. And I thought, oh, I kind of like the way that. So I felt that the filmmakers were trying to put, and I don't know anyone's name, so whatever. The director, I felt that they were trying to put more in than they needed to. This could have just been, by the numbers, Jason Statham, who's, fun and charismatic anyways, and then we just have the movie. But putting in little extra elements, that kind of Japanese flavor. I don't know, the little girl's great. I love her. Like they're teaching her the system or this is the business and this is how it works, And then ultimately she uses that to kill the guys. Like, hey, listen, that's all business. So it's like, which I thought it's business, right? That's what
business for you.
Yeah. So it's like, this is what I've been learning this entire time. Right. Yeah. So that was kind of neat. I liked it. I haven't really seen a lot of Jason Statham movies.
You need to get on that because they're awesome.
Yeah, I never really saw. I saw the Transport. No, I don't think I saw Transporter 3, or maybe I did see No,
You don't miss much with Transporter 3. It's not that great. Watch Homefront. Homefront's great.
I saw I did see Homefront, and I saw Safe Now, and I've seen. I think I did see all 3 Transporter movies. I saw
the Mechanic movies.
No, I didn't watch Mechanic because there was a remake. I will watch those.
Good.
I mean, I saw Ghost of Mars in the theater, and I thought that guy was cool. I was like, oh, that guy's really cool in this movie.
I saw Crank.
I saw Crank 1 and 2. I saw both Cranks.
You've seen plenty of his movies then.
So yeah, I guess that's pretty good. No, I did see Death Race.
Oh yeah,
I saw Death Race.
And Meg 1 and 2.
I saw Meg Part 1, which I actually thought was kind of fun.
The first one was I like the second one. It was one of these movies which is terribly awesome. You know, it's like I know this isn't a great movie, but I just have a fun time with it anyway. You know. So,
and then Wraith or Wrath?
Wrath of Man, that was a great one.
I thought Wraith of Man. That sounds really cool.
Chad Stahelski from John Wick.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the action was pretty good. A bit shaky, but not the way it is. Where I can't tell what's going on.
This is how you do it right, though, because I thought it gave it a sort of frenetic energy, and it made the action just more exciting, and just the things they were doing with the camera and everything. Was like, oh, this was really cool.
It was a bit like Rambo 4, right? Not the 5th one, where it was like that. I found that was the same style, but I liked the angling of the camera in this one. I liked how things came out from sides because you didn't expect it, or were like you were in a car and he was backing away and that the front's being attacked or stuff. I like stuff like that. I don't mind stuff where it's like keeps me guessing, like I'm in there with him, right? But it's like stuff is being hurled at him. It's like I'm reacting, as opposed to just a medium shot and it's just shaking, and it's just literally like we didn't want to pay an action coordinator. We didn't want to show that Liam Neeson is 60 years old and he can't really fight. That sort of thing. I didn't mind this action at all because it felt very much like, I didn't want to say believable, but I understood more the purpose behind it than I do the shaky cam. To the shaky cam, I just feel like you're hiding something from me. And I hate that. Just laziness.
Yeah. Well, they think the people who use that are not action film fans because they think they're giving you something exciting, but what makes it exciting for us is to see the techniques of the performers, and the performers don't have the techniques and they don't feel like training. John Wick, okay, so Keanu Reeves perhaps did not have the abilities when he started, but he learned and got really good in these martial arts movies, and now he's really cool. So when you watch it, like, wow, that looks pretty sick. But when you get someone who can't do it and you don't want to use a stunt man because now everything's in 4K or whatever, and we're gonna be like, hey, that ain't that guy, like watching Star Trek on Blu-ray remastered, you're like, that is not William Shatner in that fight right now. Like, not at all. That could be Owen do it for it
was.
It's not even not it looks nothing like him. So they hide it. Yeah, it's like what you're saying. They hide it. It's like, oh, let's make it shaky. But they think they're making it exciting, but actually you're not, because the less I can tell what's going on, the less excited I am, right? And if I can see the technique, that's not exciting. The whole point is that you lose yourself in the movie, that you don't see the technique, right? Like, and they just, action movies have probably suffered maybe the most. I don't know. We should do a stream where we rank what genres have fallen to the shitter. Horror movies has not.
Horror has always been strong. Yeah,
it's always been strong. Everything, comedies fallen the worst because you can't make a joke about anything anymore, or otherwise you might be offended. I'm offended by not having a joke. So anyway,
I find everyone being offended offensive.
Offended, yeah. So,
I heard somebody say once, and this was brilliant, it says being offended is not a skill.
That's good. I like that.
That's a good one to use.
I'm going to add that to my repertoire.
One thing I hadn't noticed until I watched Safe again last night. RoboCop's in this. John Burke from RoboCop 3. And he's the captain. God. And that guy, he has real screen presence though. Like whenever he's on, he can be like really intimidating looking, and I loved him in this. I kind of like how there's like that kind of reluctant team up at the end, and that's the thing. That whole like sequence where they're actually going to the safe, and then he just turns around and like shoots everybody. You're like, oh,
that was cool. Yeah, because you're waiting for them this is the subverting expectations in a good way. You're waiting for them to screw him, but you're like, well, no, we know he's smart. But then he just immediately, like, it was a little bit out of nowhere. You're like, oh shit, he just nailed that guy right away. Like, he's like, yeah, I know you guys are, gunning for me.
Yeah.
I like the fact he was just collecting people.
Hey, Preston.
I liked he was collecting people. The vengeance.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, like he got the Russian kid, like the son, and and he's got him there, and then he collects Robert John Burke. I'm like, dude, is Chris Sarandon going to end up in there? Chris Sarandon's going to end up in this guy's trunk. Like, he's just going to open his trunk, and there's going to be like 6 or 7 dudes in there.
Pulling everybody out of it.
Going like a clown car, like just people falling out. Like, it'll just be like a Marx Brothers movie. But I like that. I like the fact he didn't kill Robert John Burke, because that was an obvious thing. And he didn't kill him. He actually paid him. He's like, for your troubles, $50K. Yeah. And then he gave the rest back to James Hong. He's like, and the little girl's like, oh, this is all your money back minus 50,000. We'll pay you back with interest. And I'm like, I've never seen this before, where it's like, yeah, we've returned all your money. We're not.
Yeah, you're expecting them to kill all of them, and I was like, you can't kill everybody, and that's because like they're all over the place. It's not like in one location. And some have said that like the climax of the film is a little underwhelming because he should have had a fight scene with Alex at the end. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but you're expecting a fight scene, and this movie is trying to sort of.
So I knew that wasn't going to happen because they're following the Japanese samurai formula. The Japanese samurai formula is that lone wolf dispatches everybody immediately. In Sanjuro, where you're waiting the whole movie for Sanjuro to have his face off, it's like dead. Because the whole point is that both competitors are so good that it's the first guy to be able to get an upper hand or whatever. But the way they did it here with the girl, it's like, because look, like in Lone Wolf and Cub will do things to make the fight in Ogami's favor. And so it's like, I was like, oh, I don't think this is going to be a big fight. Like, I was thinking it'll just be something real quick or whatever. And they did it. And I was like, yep, I had to feel for this movie. So about, I don't know, 20 minutes in, when I started to realize, I'm like, I see what they're doing. They're meshing these two genres. I understand what this movie's going for. And that's why I was like, yeah, I feel where it's going. I can tell, I can definitely see people being like, hey, that was a letdown. We were waiting for that. But I wasn't really waiting for it because it wasn't built up that much in the movie anyways. No. It was like Vader and Luke, where you're like, okay, if it was Vader and Luke, even though Lucas, Star Wars, 23 minutes in, 23 minutes in Star Wars reference, even though Lucas obviously loves the Kurosawa films, which is what he's basing half of Star Wars on, you really wouldn't disappoint on that. Like, that would be too big of a disappointment if you're waiting finally for these guys to go at it. This one, that bad guy, other assassin, I don't know anyone's name.
Alex. Yeah.
That Alex guy, it wasn't like he was there from the beginning where they were like,
no, he showed up halfway through. So
he showed up halfway through. So you're not building up to this fight. You're like, okay, it's just another guy to go through, right? So
no, see, I agree. I mean, I remember people at the time, like, oh, yeah, I wish there was a fight, and I was like, no, I loved what they did, because you're expecting that, and then it doesn't happen, and this film just kept surprising you. And the one thing the film is not is predictable. Oh, that's Anson Mount. So it is. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Is that him, Alex? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh.
I was watching, I was like, God, that guy looks familiar. But he's kind of grey now, which is the thing. But mind you, it was 11 years ago. So I can't believe it's 11 years ago. I remember seeing that in the cinema. And I remember me and Ed went to see it. And whenever the end credits came up, everybody clapped and cheered and loved it. And everyone was sort of excited afterwards. And I was like, wow, look what happens whenever people make a good action movie. People love it, audiences are excited by it. And the thing was, around 2012 there weren't that many, because it was like the Bourne period, whenever everything was shaky cam, whatever, and there weren't that many great action movies. But what movie is he talking about? Is it which movie? Are you guys going to talk about what movie? I mean, the movie we're talking about?
No, we haven't talked about Safe.
Beekeeper. He mentioned Beekeeper. That looks really good. He mentioned
when it comes out. Yes.
Poop.
Yeah.
Expendables 4 is poop. I don't know.
Expendables 4 is probably the worst film I've seen this year.
It's up there.
Yeah,
I haven't really thought about the movies I've watched this year because I had to go back and I was like, oh shit, I saw that in the theater. Oh, I saw that in the theater. I'm like, oh God.
There's been so much going on this year as well, outside of movies and things that they've just not been that important to me this year with everything else that's been going on. But
Creed 3 came out this year, which seems
yeah, Creed 3.
Which seems insane. Like I thought that feels like that movie came out 2 years ago or something. I think it came out this year.
Yeah, it did. You're right.
Did it?
Yeah.
My show's been over nearly empty. That was roughly a week before. Well, guess what? Safe's better than the Avengers. But anyway, still yet to see X4, saving my money for Silent Night. Yeah, that's much better. So I guarantee you, everyone is going to disagree with my review. I was saying this to Jay earlier that I kind of give it a rave. But if I think about it, then it's probably more maybe a 3.5 or 4-star movie. But because it had this emotional resonance, because the film is really about grief. And it's incredibly moving. I thought it was one of the most moving John Woo films, but his movies always have that emotional core to them. A lot of the time, there's some heart to them. But I think people won't like it because it is different. There's no doves. There's no unintentionally funny stuff. Where sometimes there is. Let's face it. There's something for that's kind of silly. But in this one, it's really gritty, and it is almost more John Wicky. But which some people won't like. But I don't care. I stand by our movie. I love the movie and I thought it was great. The first half is a little slow for about half an hour or whatever. There's like a lot of time training or whatever, but I love that. So I'm intrigued to see what everybody thinks of it when they see it. So
I think I'm going to say this is going to be somewhat controversial, but knowing I own a lot of John Woo movies, and Hard Boiled's one of my favorite movies of all time, and so is Hard Target, and all of those American ones. I think there's what people think of John Woo in their mind versus what John Woo has produced. Like every John Woo movie has a lot of downtime where there's this emotional stuff or story, like The Killer. Everyone, I remember like when everyone was like pumping The Killer up, and I have it on VHS and I watched it. I thought, wow, this is awesome. And then people were talking, I was like, well, it's kind of boring. I was like, oh, what was boring? It's like, oh, he's just here with a girl. And it's like, oh, she's blind now. Who cares? And I'm like, oh yeah, there is a lot of that. But I wasn't. Yeah, and it's like I think people think John Woo means 90 minutes of gunfire. That's not what it is.
Hard Target is slow.
Hard Target is. Yeah. Hard Target is also slow. So this is this thing where there's this idea of John Woo in their minds. And it's like, okay, what movie are you talking about? And I've come across this with other genres, but with John Woo is a good example. It's like Hard Boiled, which has like at least a 40-minute. There's like about 3 action scenes in Hard Boiled, which are unbelievable to me, haven't been touched yet. But there's a lot of stuff in between. Him and his partner, he's pretending to be bad, but he's not really, like Tony Lang, he's not really bad, Right, there's a lot of downtime in these John Woo movies. Face Off, shit. So, and again, it depends on who you're talking to. So I saw Face Off in the theater, and my mom saw Face Off in the theater. We did not see it together. So she... You know what her complaint with Face Off was? She's like, I loved it. There was too much action. She's like, I couldn't take all the action. I walked out. I was like, wow, he really decreased the amount of action in this one, I think, just to get a little bit more with the characters. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's like, you've seen one John Woo movie. At that point, I had seen 20 or something. Like it was like A Better Tomorrow and all. I was like, I've seen a lot of John Woo movies. Like this one has a lot, but it wasn't a negative. I wasn't saying that to be negative and say, he took out the action. I said he spent a lot of time with the characters. Now in Face Off, because of the nature of that movie, it really worked to have those characters because it was very interesting. Both guys were great. And when they swapped, it was really cool. So, but they're Broken Arrow, like there's downtime. Like what movies are they watching? What John Woo movies are they watching where it's 2 hours of gunfire? I don't get it.
Broken Arrow was great. Love the music. We should talk about Broken Arrow at some point. I want to do. We'll just talk
the soundtrack to that one.
It's one of the best soundtracks ever.
I've got that on CD, baby, and Hard Target and Face Off.
Yeah, it does feel weird, Charlie. What the hell?
Yeah, why are you? Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah, he's out of town. So Face Off takes him. Yeah, exactly.
Way out of town.
Way out of town. You and your boyfriend find a bus to catch. So anyway, back to
cancel Van Damme.
Oh no, cancel. Yeah.
You be the one to tell me it's canceled. I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. You don't give a shit. Yeah. But safe, good, tight 90 minutes. It's well paced. Like there's like never any like downtime really at all.
Pacing.
And it was brilliant to cast James Hong as the sort of like the guy who's like, I don't want to use a computer. I don't trust computers. He's old school. He's like, give me someone who's like a human computer, someone who's infallible, because computers are fallible. And I love it because this is terrible, but James Hong is a very old man. He's in his 90s now. And back then he would have been in his like 80s. And it's just like, yes, I could believe an 80-year-old man would not trust computers. It's called my dad. So like it makes perfect sense to me, and I just it's perfectly cast. Yeah, I agree, Adam.
I was going to write an essay a few years ago saying that James Hong was actually low pan in every movie he's ever been in. It's always been low pan,
pretty much.
Like he's just changed. Like he's been low. It's always been low pan in every movie he's ever been in. It was actually low pan in that. But like changing around, doing magic or something.
And I gotta say, like, I hate the dirty cops.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the dirty cops. Like when they get them and they're like beating them in a circle. I hate that.
I hate that scene.
But I could not stand the actor who played the second in command of the triad, like the guy who was her father. I could not stand that guy. I wanted
these evil guys.
I don't know why. It was just like his face. I have no idea. But like every time I saw him, I'm like, someone kill this guy. Like he was going to turn and kill her when he thought the Russians were going to get her. He was going to turn and kill her.
It's all business.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, your camera's gone off.
No, I know. Someone entered the room, so I
okay. I remember whenever I went to see Scream 2 in the theater, and anytime Dewey came on screen, it played John Travolta's theme tune from Broken Arrow, and me and my buddy were like cheering, and everyone's sort of like, what are they clapping? And so like, down. And I was like, that's a Broken Arrow theme tune. That's an awesome in-joke. And like we got it, and like nobody else in the audience got it, and I was like, you'll suck.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I should rip that and I should make an MP3 because I've got all the CDs for these. I should rip those.
Yeah, I need to actually just have that theme tune and have it play anytime I walk into the office or whatever. It's just down.
Yeah, and then smoke. Never seen anyone hold the cigar like he holds it like this.
Yeah, sort of like so theatrical the way he does it.
Theatrical.
Yeah, Travolta was great in that. Yeah, I mean, I could just talk for, like Broken Arrow for like hours. It's literally one of my favorite movies. Also, Adam mentioned The Rock there as well. The Rock was great too.
Broken Arrow, I saw it in the theater, but originally I was going to skip it. And the reason why is because it was right after Pulp Fiction, and everyone was just going on and on and on about John Travolta as if he's just been discovered. And I just got so sick of it. I was just like, I'm going to skip this movie. And then the reason I watched it is because I'm a Christian Slater mark. I'm like especially back then, I loved Christian Slater. So I'm like, you know what? Christian Slater's in this. I'll try it out.
We might as well.
And the chick from Super Mario Brothers. I'm like, all right.
Samantha Mathis.
Yeah. And Pump Up the Volume, which is
a
reunion program. Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I love that growing up.
I think I've seen every John Woo movie in the theater that's come here. I don't know if Redcliffe played here.
I have Redcliffe, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's a masterpiece. You have to if you've watched the two of them that are the longer version, like the full length. Yeah. If your movie says 90 minutes or something, then check it. Check the running time. It should be like over 3 hours. If it's not that version, then you've got the wrong one.
Yeah,
Howie
Long. Yeah, he was great in that in Broken Arrow, and also had a great death scene when he's kicked out of the train and just falls off the bridge. So that's awesome. But yeah, back to Safe. I think like a good double is like that and Homefront. But Adam also mentioned Mercury Rising, which is sort of a similar kind of idea where he's protecting a kid, but this time the kid is autistic. I mean, May's not autistic; she's a genius. Really, it's never really explored.
Well, she's on the spectrum, and it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Autistic people do have very good. They can do like certain things, like math. You never know. Like each depending on what your thing is, your mind works different. It's just that your mind works differently. They're more focused and specific. A friend, a coworker, his daughter was autistic, and he kind of explained like how the mind works, like how her mind worked. Like it was all very regimented. It's like OCD on steroids, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's
Savant was
Savant. Yeah, she was a savant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
she still had a personality. She still cared. Like she actually lied about the numbers at the beginning. Remember about the casino? She lied about the numbers initially. She didn't lie. She sort of said, "Oh, it's
around about 800,000,
30,000, whatever." But
actual amount. And she's like, "Oh, well."
So she wasn't smart enough. She sure said $33,294.54, and then he was like, "Okay," but she's like, "Oh yeah, he made it. It was 200,000." It's like, what's the exact number? 180 something, and then he was pissed. But I was like, she sure said 200,000, 100 and whatever. Like,
yeah.
So she's still a kid, and kids, it's actually difficult for kids to lie well because they don't have practice at it. So and because she's so specific with numbers, it's so natural for her to say the true number. So her saying a different number or even a variation is just like a fail. He's like, yeah, okay, we know you're.
I wonder.
But it was meant for that was meant also for the audience.
Yeah.
So we know her limitations, and so therefore, when later she does lie, and she's like, no, I never told anyone. You saw that she did have progression as a character, even though it's minor, I suppose, because like she's a kid, she's not going to be like have some life lesson, I guess. But she did progress, and she could lie, which means she cared more about Jason Statham than she did about that random casino owner guy that she could lie perfectly for. So that was kind of cool. It's for the audience, but I mean, whatever. We gotta, again, you have to have character moments, or else what am I watching this for, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I like.
Sorry.
I like to. Statham spoke Russian. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I could tell. And I love to when someone's talking to him about his dead wife. He's like, "Oh, she was a cow. I don't know why you were with her," or something. And then he just looks at the guy and he's like, "She made me laugh." And I'm like, "This guy's just awesome, man." Mm-hmm. Like he's not like Ronan is the perfect way to describe it. He's not here playing the same game as everyone else. Mm-hmm. He didn't do things just because of why everyone else does them.
Yeah.
I
think, this is blasphemy. There's only ever one Charles Bronson, but I do think Statham is kind of the modern equivalent of Bronson. That way, he's got that stoic manliness or whatever, which you rarely see in movies these days. I love that about him. He's always believable. Like, whenever he's in a fight scene, you believe. Like, anytime he throws a punch or whatever, you're like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be punched by that guy because that's going to hurt. He's going to knock your head off. And I really like that. He's just got that natural tough guy persona, which makes him so believable in these action roles. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. Like this Homefront, I actually really love Mechanic Resurrection. It's kind of like a PM entertainment movie. So it's good that way. So you should definitely watch that. I know I gotta have John Cross on here at some point because we're going to be talking the Mechanic movies, all three.
Is there a third one with Jason Statham?
No. The Bronson one and then the two Statham ones. They have been talking about a third one. They announced a third one like years ago and it didn't happen. And I was like, can't we have that instead of more Meg movies, please?
Well, Statham to me plays two roles exceedingly well. He plays the probably the guy who's like the what's the word I'm looking for? The guy who's the professional who is better than everyone else.
And transporter style, very sleek and cool. Yeah. And then I'm just a regular dad with my jacket, my toque on or something.
Yeah. Yeah. He excels at both those roles evenly. But I loved him as the professional who doesn't need to say he's a professional. He doesn't need anyone. Right. And you saw that with probably the most in the Mechanic, right? He's got a heart, but like he does not need any, and he doesn't. It's not just that he doesn't need anyone. He doesn't want anyone around. He just wants the people he trusts, and that's it. And he really excels at that role. Where, I love the hidden awesome guy who's like, he's awesome, but he doesn't need to say he's awesome until someone pushes him, and then you see how awesome it is. He is. Like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. Yeah. He walks in, Dalton, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we heard about but then he is awesome.
Yeah, that's the Rambo. You want the Rambo formula.
Yeah, the Rambo.
Unassuming, oh, I'm
Yeah.
just a guy walking around with my backpack and my dirty pants or whatever, but I can
Mhm.
kick the crap out of anybody here.
Mhm.
You know, I gotta say, if you're Brian Dennehy's character and you've seen John Rambo just take out an entire squadron of people, and he's holding a knife to your throat, and he's in freaking camouflage, and he's like, he just pretended to be mud to sneak up on you, and he's like, let it go, or
Like if
whatever.
you never leave. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be doing that. Like at this point, I don't know what other evidence you need that this guy could literally
Well,
do.
in the book, it's given a bit more detail where he's bitter towards him because he fought in the Korean
Yes.
War and he didn't
Yes.
get enough respect.
I was just going to say that. Yes. I never got that. So that's a whole, I do not really, I don't follow like, American wars or any of that or whatever. So I did not get any of that. And I was just going to say that because I watched the comment or listened to the commentary and they're like, there's this whole thing with the Korean War and there wasn't a lot of respect. Like it didn't get any, the soldiers were just like, nobody talks about it's forgotten. It's like, and he's like, oh, you guys got all the glory or even publicity even, right? So there's animosity there. I never got that in that movie at all. I don't know. I don't even know what the clues would be. It's just something I don't know about, but that is the reason.
On his desk, there are war medals, I think. That's something for the Korean War, maybe, but it's a little too subtle for most of us.
Well, I'm sure in that time, the audience of that time watching it would have picked up on this kind of a thing. Like how we pick up on things, we're nerds. Like, oh, I can see what's going on. Like, but I can't, I did not pick up on any of that. I was a kid when I saw that Rambo movie. It's still one of my favorites.
Yeah. Korean War.
It is. It's not even talking. Even in my and I'm saying when I watched it, I've seen First Blood 100 times. Even when I watched First Blood, like I watched it last year, I still don't pick up the Koreans and stuff either.
No, it's not even hinted at, really. It's very subtle.
Or it's so subtle that I'm not seeing.
Well, it's also believable that these guys come back from war and no one cares, and no one, they come back to nothing, right? That's the whole thing. They come back to nothing, and even our target touches on that. How many, those homeless guys are war veterans? So.
Yes, it does touch on that.
And it's believable that they're just treated like shit because they don't care about what you have done. They care about what you are doing now. And to Brian Denny's character, John Rambo's just a vagrant. So it's just like, get out of my town. You're a dirty bum. And he doesn't give a crap that and that to me is if there's, and I read the John Morrell book and I remember when you mentioned it, it's in there. But to me, I actually prefer it that I believe that these guys did everything for the country. This is the American dream versus the American nightmare argument, where these guys left home and fought for their country in a foreign land, came home to nothing, and they're mistreated. And I think that, exactly. And I'm like, The Rock 2 touches on that a lot.
It's a good storyline for action movies because it gives just immediate heart right there, and then you get something people can relate to straight away. And even though nobody does anything about it in real life.
There's nothing wrong with that visual, and instantaneously someone walks into a room and you're like, I like this guy, or I don't like this guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Or understanding something without needing, 30 minutes of dialogue, which is what we need now. We need 30 minutes of dialogue for me to get to a point that could have gotten to
see, don't tell.
Yeah, exactly.
They think we're all okay. They think audiences are stupid because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a mystery. It's like the people making these films are stupid, and they're thinking to themselves, "Oh man, it's like, how am I going to explain what's going on? Because I need this and this, so I'm going to explain it to them." It's like, no. If you're a good filmmaker, you just make the movie, and people will figure it out if they're smart. Owen talking privately prior to this going live, talking about the Silent Night John Woo film. Some people are kind of saying it's a bit slow. Again, I didn't know this, but there's not a lot of dialogue in that beginning part, which means that you have to be
no dialogue at all. The entire movie is silent.
Oh, there's no dialogue. Oh, I didn't know.
It's
a silent. Oh, that actually is a selling point. I was going to see it. I was going to see it anyways.
Yeah,
I was going to see it anyways. Yeah. But that actually makes it better because it makes it a less passive experience, and people are used to passive films. So here's what happens. You're watching John Wick, and we don't want to beat up John Wick because I love John Wick, but John Wick, okay, they're talking. And then, fighting? Okay. And then it's like, I understand what's going on. It's like, this one's like, da, 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 da. There's no dialogue here. Well, it must be something going on. And it's like, am I missing the story? Wait, what's going on? Oh, shit. Oh, I'm missing. This movie sucks. This movie's boring.
I'm bored.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get myself angry, so I'm not going to talk about these people. But that's literally what happened. And it's like you're like, are you watching this? Like, you have to. It's a movie. It's a movie you have to actually watch.
And believe it or not,
you might have to pay attention and watch this movie.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. The first like 35 minutes of 2001: A Space Odyssey, it's like nothing happens except if you watch it. And if anyone needs to, they can watch it with me, and I'll explain what's happening while it's good. But anyways, I'll do a commentary. And you're like, so much happens, but like nobody notices, right? Mm. But I didn't know this whole movie's silent. That's actually really exciting to me.
All there is occasionally the odd radio broadcast, and you hear that, and that's it. But everything is facial expressions. Right. And so you don't tell. It's perfect storytelling. It's like, to me, I don't think I actually said this, but this should be a template on how to make like an action movie, because I teared up a couple of points in it because the film is all about grief and whatever, and it feels so real. The music was gorgeous, and just Joel Kinnaman was fantastic. He was really, really good.
Just to clarify, there's no dialogue.
There's no dialogue. There's not a word of dialogue.
You can hear sounds and there's sounds.
There's sounds and music, but
gunfire, right?
Yeah,
like you hear gunfire and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And, it's just there's no dialogue. Okay,
but pretty much the entire final like hour is action, and it's fucking awesome. I was like, I love this because. It's a revenge story. Like it's straightforward that way, but the way this is done is unlike anything I've seen before. And I was like, I'm sorry, but you need to applaud that because that's cinema. Which
that got me more pumped up. So I'll definitely go.
I'm definitely intrigued to see what you think of it because I'm intrigued to see what.
So when is it actually out?
I think it's probably early screenings tomorrow, but it's out on Friday.
Well, I'm seeing Godzilla tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm probably going to see that at the weekend. I initially wasn't going to be going to the cinema because of COVID, but then we went to see Napoleon the other day.
I saw your review.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. Other people didn't. But
too much dialogue. Too much dialogue, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just a little,
I don't know.
For them.
Well, we need to take a poll. How much dialogue? This movie has no dialogue. Oh, I can't watch it. Okay, this movie has too much dialogue. Okay, I can't watch it. I don't know.
What's happening? I can't do this. So, I mean, my thing with Napoleon was that, nobody was French. I was like Joaquin Phoenix just is speaking like Joaquin Phoenix with this American accent. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. At least attempt an accent because, like, you're just an American then. And it just, I understand that criticism.
I'm Napoleon.
Yeah. He's like, I'm from France.
I'm from France. You got a problem with me, boy?
Like, vive la Republic.
Vive. That's good.
So, but there's lots of sex in it too.
Oh, in Napoleon?
In Napoleon, yeah.
Oh, woohoo!
Oh, yeah, I mean, one of the scenes is like, it's like so rapid. You're waiting for the Benny Hill music to come on in the background. When you watch it, you just like, it's like so comedic, like so quick. It was so good.
Benny Hill music or something?
Yeah, it was something hilarious.
I love Benny Hill.
G-Man's accent made me bust out laughing. Oh dear. I think we said everything there is to say about Safe, so let's literally just shoot the shit right now about everything. So, sure. So next week you'll say we're going to be talking Silent Night. So I'm going to do one every week now up until Christmas because there's a whole bunch of things I want to discuss. Like next week we'll do Silent Night. The week after I want to do The Last Boy Scout because it's one of my favorite movies and I just want to talk about it.
I need to write this down.
Okay.
I haven't seen Last Boy Scout since it came out.
Oh, right. Oh, dude, you got to watch it. So good. My second favorite Bruce Willis movie after Die Hard.
So Silent Night. Okay, so that's next Wednesday. So I'll try to see it before then.
If you're interested, I can send you. I have the original script to The Last Boy Scout, and it has a whole bunch of stuff that's cut from it. And it was like a much darker, more graphic film. There's like chainsaw scenes and stuff in it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I won't be able to read the script. I mean, I read about 20 comics a week for my streams. So
yeah. I mean, I have
send it to me just so I have it.
Yeah, I mean, I've read that much of Heat 2, and I've had it for like 3 months. Because like I didn't read it at all whenever I had COVID. I just wasn't doing anything. I was just and that was about it. And that's really all I've been doing. And then there's bronchitis in September. So 2023 sucks.
What are you doing after Last Boy Scout, you think? Or is that we're not planning that much ahead?
No, actually, I think because we'll do 2023 the year in action. Because I always used to do that as a blog, and everyone talk about the action movies that we've seen. Because I leave on the 23rd of December, so and I'll be away until the 3rd of January. So
that means we've got So if the 6th is Silent Night, the 13th would be Last Boy Scout, 20th would be the year in action.
Perfect. Okay, right, and that'll be it. And then in January, I've got this all planned out. I want to do one. Does Die Another Day Deserve the Hate? And I know Steve is going to be for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to be there, man. I'm going to be like, no, I'm fighting everyone. I don't care.
Oh, wait, Die Another Day?
Die Another Day, the last Pierce Brosnan one, yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that.
I'm going to be, don't worry. I'm bringing the freaking J-Man arsenal on this one. Listen, you thought I was talking some good shit tonight? I'll be talking great shit at that night.
I haven't watched a James Bond film since that fucking travesty to die.
Oh man!
So yeah, that'll be good to get back into.
Oh, Steve and I, it's going to be the Wonder Twin powers activate.
Yeah.
That's what I watched.
I like that movie. Yeah, everyone hated it so much, and I begrudgingly, I'm like, all right, let me watch this trash movie, and I'm like, what the hell? This is awesome. And then I'm like, I put the wrong movie in, and it's like, what? Did someone change the disc or something? Like, all right. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, as Adam says here, no Bond movie deserves hate, in my opinion. Good, bad, never boring. Yeah, I mean, they're never boring. I mean, even Die Another Day, No Time to Die, which I fucking detest. It certainly wasn't boring. He just died like a bitch at the end. Anyway.
I do think it's boring though in the beginning.
It is at times, yeah. I mean, it's too long. I mean, it is my least favorite Bond movie ever, and it's the only one I've ever watched once. But
me too.
Yeah, so we got some good shit come up. So I was reading some of the comments on your Doctor Who stream the other day. Wow.
I have like 150 comments or something. I've got 2,400 views on that.
I know you're an ist and a phobe, of course.
Oh, I'm all of it, baby. I'm going hardcore.
I love whenever the incel word comes out anytime you criticize something. You sound like an incel. You sound like a dick. No.
What? Yeah, I did get 2 subscribers today just while we were talking, but the comments section is like on fire. There's 152 comments.
Is that the most comments you've ever had?
Yeah, that's more comments I've had. I'll put all my videos together. Somebody put wine, and I responded. I'm like, actually, I prefer beer. What am I supposed to? Like someone says, why are you bragging about collecting plastic? And then I was like, I said, plastic is in 90% of all products. So you own plastic. And then he goes, then he wrote Jesus Christ. And I said, please don't use my real name on this stream.
So the J stands for.
Yeah. And man means for the original, the man.
Yeah.
Like the man upstairs, baby.
The man. Okay.
The man, yeah.
You kneel when I come online.
That's right. That's right. Wow. A lot. I do have a lot of people that agreed with me, and I do have even the people that were critical of my assessment. Some of them gave me pretty long comments, which I probably didn't read. But I just said, "Oh, thanks for sharing your comments." Because
I know I read some of them, and these people are going to huge diatribes, and I was like, "What kind of fucking loser takes that long to like write these?"
Make a video.
Yeah, but I was like, if I don't like something, you know what I do? I ignore it and I move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Well,
people belabor the point nowadays, and it just takes
Yeah.
so long. I was actually someone at work asked me for feedback on an interview she did, and I said, okay. I said, here's the thing: you answered a question. I said, when I ask you a question, give me your answer, and then you elaborate on why you're giving me the answer. I'm like, you actually did the opposite. You elaborated on the answer before you gave me the answer, and I find that that's not her. That's everyone nowadays. Everyone just goes on this diatribe, and I actually read comments. It's how I agree. I'm reading the comments, and I'm waiting for them to get to the point, and it's just like, oh, J-Man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so you like Doctor Who? You don't like Doctor Who this episode? Like, what is it? Like, it's just virtual, like anger directed towards J-Man. And I'm like, but I'm actually looking for your opinion of the episode. And I haven't seen it yet. I just seen you tell J-Man he sucks. And I'm like, so am I to insinuate you like the episode? Or have you even seen it?
Yeah, I do want comments. So comment all the way, say I suck. I want it all because it helps the algorithm. So everything they just said, ignore it. I want comments because that really does help the algorithm. However, because the algorithm doesn't know that they're negative comments or positive. They only know people are
see the comments. Yeah.
But when someone reviews me, I've won. Yeah. Because the point of the discussion is not whether I'm right or wrong. The point of the discussion is the Doctor Who episode a good episode or not? The discussion tonight is safe. What do you think about it? We gave our points. Owen maybe likes it more than I do. Maybe Stephen likes it more than I do, or maybe I like it more than Steve does, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You come at me with the points. You can say I'm wrong because in the episode it clearly says this, this, and this, but they don't. They just make fun of me. That means I've won because you have no defense points.
Yeah.
It's like John is on trial for murder. Here is the fingerprints that we found at the scene. This lawyer's an idiot. Don't believe anything he said. That's not a defense of John. You're making fun of me. What is your defense against John? I don't have one. That means I've won. Because if you have facts to back up your opinion, I can get destroyed very easily. This is why I win arguments when I go again, because it's like, I have evidence. The evidence I have is the film we're talking about. Like J.J. Abrams doesn't like Star Wars. How do I know that? Because I watched the Star Wars movies he made. He clearly doesn't like Luke Skywalker,
and Luke Skywalker did anything since.
right. And Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. He is the heart and soul of Star Wars. If you don't like Luke Skywalker, you don't like the heart and soul of Star Wars. Therefore, you don't like Star Wars. He also doesn't like the leading action character, which is Han Solo, because he also killed him. I don't need to make my points. I have the movies. My evidence is the movies, Exhibit A and B. Here's your movies, right? Like, I'm not attacking JJ. He is an idiot, but he doesn't like Star Wars because here's the evidence. You have to defend using the movie. You can't say I'm an idiot or you just don't like anything. It's like, well, clearly that's a lie because I have tons of shit. I've got there's my buddy Han right there in Carbonite.
Han there, yeah.
So, anyways.
Well, we've gone off all kinds of wonderful different tangents tonight, but
that's okay. That always happens on all streams.
Our streams, we usually talk about the movie for like half an hour, and the rest of the time it's just us bitching about everything.
It was about 40 minutes of safe.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. And if Charlie was here, probably would have been a little longer because he would have given his opinions as well, which I'm sure he liked the movie.
Yeah, because I think Nate and Charlie are probably, I think the whole gang is going to be here for next week for Silent Night. So I can't wait to see what people think, because I'm sure there'll be differing opinions on this one.
I'll bring my A game then.
Yeah.
I didn't bring my A game to this. I thought this would just be a chill stream because it's Jason. Like this is the kind of movie. It's safe. It's a safe movie. It's a safe movie. There's not gonna. You can't watch this movie and despise it.
Yeah.
It's not a badly made movie. It's
not a badly made film. There's nothing to deconstruct or just say, oh, this is shit or whatever. A couple of plot weird points, I suppose. That's as negative as we got. That's pretty good, right?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how do you immediately make a hero great? Stack the deck.
Exactly.
And
hear that, Rey Skywalker?
But she's coming back as. I think we should give her another chance. Are these people crazy? They want to lose money. Let me hack into Disney.
They just hate money.
Agenda for 2024: lose more money. Yep, no, it's there. I just hacked into their thing and saw it. So there you go.
Walt Disney Company is now a charitable company. They don't make money. It's non-profit.
Yeah. In January, I think it was a Preston. I think he was talking about, are we going to talk about the Beekeeper? We'll do one on the Beekeeper. I want to see that in January as well. Really cool. We'll do a lads' night for that. That'll probably be the next time we all go to cinema together, probably once we're back. Sure. Me and Ed will probably end up seeing Godzilla this weekend. I have to see it. I'll wear a mask or something. I don't care. I have to see it on the big screen. I can't miss it. But we'll go to the one, and I prefer the IMAX in Winston Churchill. Just there's more space there. It's bigger, and then I can sit farther away from other people.
VIP. So that's the one I'm going. I'm going alone. Steve can't make it. You guys can't. And Sean, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I got my ticket. I got the one solo seat in the very corner. So I think I've seen every Godzilla by myself except for me. Somebody came with me to Shin Godzilla.
I went with you.
Yeah, but every other Godzilla movie, I think I've gone alone. Like the Japanese Godzilla movie.
I've never seen any of the Japanese Godzilla movies on the big screen. This is why I have to see it. I was like, I haven't seen them on the big screen. Yeah. I've only seen the MonsterVerse ones and then the Roland Emmerich one, which I got in 4K the other day. I actually watched it and I was like, it's actually not bad.
No, it's just not Godzilla.
It's not a Godzilla film. It's just a monster movie. Yeah.
But it's a monster movie. This was my argument with people too, like even with Monarch, because like they're like, well, Godzilla's not in it that much. I'm like, yeah, but there's other monsters in it doing shit. Did you see episode 3? That ice monster's insane. There's like this, I'm like, it's still a cool monster, and Kurt Russell's in it, and Wyatt Russell's in it. So what do you want? Like, well, it doesn't have that much Godzilla. Oh, I'm sorry. Was it called Godzilla?
The Legacy of Monsters, Monarch. It's about that.
It's called Monarch.
It's background stuff which just fills in the blanks and just nice little backstory to keep us going until we get. Is it Godzilla X Kong times Kong?
So they usually say cross. That X is used in a lot of Japanese Godzilla films. They use the X, so it's like Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. I say cross based on Hunter Cross or Hunter X Hunter, but I say cross as I don't know where I got that from. I don't know if that's the official thing, but yeah, it is X. It's Godzilla X Kong Empire.
New Empire.
New Empire, something like that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. But I mean, right, you got to say, right now is probably the best time in history to be a Godzilla fan.
Of course, it's all, and I love it all. I love all the Godzilla.
So I love the MonsterVerse as well, and I've got the
MonsterVerse.
Well, so can't wait. And I know Steve's waiting to go, so we'll wrap it up. But good, we actually made it to an hour. That's pretty good.
Nice.
So, do you have anything cool coming up for the next week where you want people to hurl abuse at you on your channel or anything?
Please hurl whatever abuses you want at me. I love it. I thanked every commenter saying thank you for sharing your thoughts, even when they're calling me an idiot and whatever. So we're doing this Friday is the Fourth World Friday. We're finishing up Jack Kirby's run on Fourth World. So Fourth World is the first appearance of Darkseid and Desaad, Orion, all the stuff that Zack Snyder ruined in his movies. So all those guys. And then every Monday we do the Legion of Superheroes live stream. This is the Legion of Superheroes shirt. This is Polar Boy, who's awesome. My favorite. So that's every Monday. And then Thursdays is usually Transformers, but not this Thursday because we're doing the Godzilla. But I will review Godzilla -1 immediately upon seeing it. And we might maybe do a stream on it. Who knows? I can, I'll think about it. So that is that. And then there's all my comic book reviews. I just reviewed a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So there you go.
When I was ill the past few weeks, I've been watching all of Steve's animated DC movies that he gave me. Like,
nice.
Like Superman versus the Elite. And
that was awesome.
And I was like, why are these 74-minute movies better than any of the DCU movies? Like, you've got stories, you've got characters, you've got action in less than 80 minutes.
Let me check my computer. Oh, because they're based on fucking comics and not by some hack writer who just made up shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I was like, I feel like I'm watching a comic book company. Return of Black Adam, that was quality as well.
Yeah.
And then
why don't they do Elite? They could do Superman versus the Elite right now. Exactly that movie. Yeah. Make it a little bit longer to get a little bit more character development with Manchester Black and get a little bit more backstories. That you can make that a 100-minute movie right now.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's funny. You're watching the anime movie, and I was like, right, there is no fat on this movie. I think every scene is important. Yeah. Characters have their moments to shine. You get plenty of action, great pacing, and everything else. And I'm like, these should be the template for what you do for movies.
I know,
You can have
I know,
90-minute
it's-
movies and make them awesome if you just tell the stories properly.
I know.
Anyway, nobody cares. So we'll jump off there, and we will be there next week at 8 o'clock again, and we'll be talking about Silent Night, the new one from John Woo, which I've already seen, and we'll see you then. So thank you, guys, and thank you, Adam, for watching the stream for the first time. Hope to see you again in the future. It's been great to have some good comments tonight. And remember, if you are watching, you are the action elite.